Economics paper 2, June 2021. Question 1. Which type of unemployment occurs when the demand for a product is only at certain times of the year? At certain times, already said it already. At certain times, specific period of the year. That means seasonal. So the answer is seasonal. For structural unemployment occurs when the demand for certain goods or services produced in the country reduces. That is structural. So when you are unable to do more exports as a result of maybe a fall in demand or whatever it is, that is structural unemployment. Cyclical is about aggregate demand within the economy. So a fall in aggregate demand will bring about cyclical unemployment. Therefore, voluntary unemployment is a situation whereby an individual chooses not to get engaged. That is seasonal. That is voluntary. And most of the time, for voluntary unemployment, it's simply because government gives unemployment benefits that is more than the reward of working. Is it clear? So that's question 1. A is C. B is okay. We'll go to B now, right? So it said, which one of the following terms refers to a tax on imported goods? It's not a subsidy. Subsidy is a financial help from government to reduce the cost of production or the price of consumption. So it's not A. Tariffs. These are taxes on importation. The answer is B. Then we go to C. C, a fine. That's a penalty on maybe negative externality. And D, pollution permit is a government regulation to reduce environmental damage. So it is not D. Clear. So we go to question C. What is meant by the term recession? Recession is a fall in a country's GDP in 2 consecutive quarters or over 2 consecutive quarters. Is it clear? Yeah. Go to question D. Again. What is meant by the term dumping? Dumping is a situation whereby the price of an imported product is sold less than the cost of production. The price of imported products are sold less than the cost of their production.
So
the cost of production is higher, but they are selling those products that are imported at a price below the cost of production. So let me cite an example.
Yeah.
Let's say this pen, the cost of producing this pen is $3, but bringing it from, it's being produced in China, and the cost of producing it in China is $3. But coming down here, we say China will sell it for $2. Why would we sell it for $2? Because we are supposed to sell more than $3 anyway. So this is simply what we call dumping. Most of the time we have dumping because the government of the importing country, the government that you are importing from, are subsidized for it. So it means that the cost of production for it reduces. So that makes the firms selling it to sell at a reduced price to increase their exportation. Is it clear?
Yes.
So that is D. We go to E. Said calculate the fiscal surplus or deficit in India rupees for India in 2019 to 2020. Fiscal surplus or deficit is total revenue minus total expenditure. So total revenue here is 22,080,201 minus 2,784,200. So it is negative 703,999. That is a deficit. Right. We go on to question F. So the question. Said using the diagram below, draw the likely effects of the introduction of subsidizing of subsidy, right? The equivalent price and quantity of new cars for families with 3 or more. So when talking about subsidy is a financial help from government. So as soon as subsidy increases, the cost of production would fall. Firms will be having the incentive to produce more. The quantity supply would increase from QE to Q1. Thinking about a shift, a rightward shift or a downward shift in the supply curve from S to S1. At that point in time, there will be expansion in the quantity in demand for the product because the movement along the demand curve will be expanding as price will become less. So we're going to have a low equilibrium price. We're going to have an increase in the quantity supplied. Okay. So go on to question G. The UK has this. Explain one benefit to the UK government of providing parks. I wrote, the benefit of providing parks to the UK government is that it could increase the export of services. Export of service. As 19.17 million based on the case study, tourist visits in 2018, which means both local firms and governments may witness increasing revenue through the national park. So there's going to be export of service. So firms that are in the tourism will be witnessing an increase in their revenue. That means if they are witnessing an increase in revenue, they will be paying more taxes to governments too.
Yeah.
Do you get it?
Yeah.
We go on to question H. FDI. Are you there? Let me say, with reference to data above and your knowledge of economics, analyze the benefits of FDI for a country such as Ireland. When we talk about FDI, it is an amount of inward investment of foreign firms into a country. Inward investment of foreign firms into a country, that is FDI. So FDI will lead to MNCs. You get the point. So what are the advantages or benefits of having FDI? Number one, they create job opportunity. So FDI will create job opportunity in Ireland, which means the Irish people might witness an increase in the level of income. So it increases income. If employment increases, income level will increase. So MNCs will invest in capital goods to enable a smooth running of their operations. As a result, may lead to rapid development in Ireland. Now, when MNCs set up in a country, the first thing they try to do is to bring up or to bring resources that would enable them to operate smoothly.
Yeah.
And to do that, they might need to invest in infrastructure.
Yeah.
So that means they're going to invest in infrastructure, and this infrastructure stays in Ireland. So that makes Ireland to be rapidly developed. Is it clear?
Yeah.
The third point I wrote is that with increasing employment and profits, the Irish government might be able to increase revenue through taxation. So now that MNCs are creating employment opportunity, the MNCs will create jobs. Income tax will be paid to government. That means income tax, through income tax, government revenue will increase. MNC will make profit, and with profit that they make, they have to pay taxes on profit, corporation tax, and that also increases government revenue taxation. Is it clear? Any question about FDI? No. So go on to question 2. Are you there? Question 2. An application of the country's exchange rate is most likely to lead to which one of the following? One, it's an increase in exports. Okay, let me just explain this. When the country's currency appreciates, it increases the price of export and reduces the price of imports. So that means a decrease in export because the price of export becomes expensive, and it increases the import because the price of imports become cheaper. Is it clear?
Yeah.
So the answer is D.
Yeah.
We move on. Question B. Which one of the following is likely to result in poverty? When we talk about poverty, we have absolute poverty and relative poverty. Okay. So here they said high literacy rates. For high literacy rates, this makes the population to be more employable because they have jobs.
Yeah.
When there's high literacy rate, it means a lot of the population, the proportion of people, the highest proportion of the people living in that country are educated. And when they are educated, it means they are employable.
Yeah.
So, and when you are employable, it means your level of income will increase. It will reduce poverty.
Yeah.
Low GDP per capita. This means that there's income inequality in the country.
Yeah.
You get, because GDP per capita is GDP divided by population. And we are having a low one. It means the country is not doing well. There's income inequality. Okay, so the answer is B anyway. So let's go to C. Low rates of tax. For low rate of tax, it will increase disposable income, which means purchasing power will increase. So that's not the answer. And high employment rate, people are having jobs. So it should rather reduce poverty, not increase poverty.
Yeah.
So the answer is B. Clear. We go to question C. State one effect on the balance of payment of improved quality of foreign goods. If foreign goods have better quality than domestic compared to domestic products, it means the demand for imported goods will increase. So imports will increase. exports will reduce because you won't be able to, you're not going to be internationally competitive. So there will be deficit in your balance of payments.
Increase in deficit.
There will be increase in balance of payments or no improvement in your balance of payments. Is it clear? Your surplus will reduce too.
Okay.
Any question about just one? You have to mention only one. So I wrote increase in deficit, reducing surplus, higher imports, lower exports. So you choose one.
Okay.
So go to question D. What is meant by the term free trade? When we talk about free trade, we're talking about the movement of goods and services in and out of a country without restriction. The movement of goods and services in and out of a country without restriction. Is it clear?
Yes.
So we'll move on. Explain one impact. Said, explain one impact of rising unemployment on consumer confidence. Of consumer confidence on a country such as Argentina. So high rates of unemployment of 10.1% based on what is written here would mean that income level would have fallen in Argentina. As a result, consumer spending would reduce. This brings about lower confidence for consumers. As a result, consumers may be cautious of spending. When unemployment increases in a country, not even in Argentina, when unemployment increases in any economy, income will fall. And if income falls, consumer confidence, individuals' confidence will fall. They won't be able to buy as they used to buy. So they will be cautious of what they do, of spending. Is it clear? You go to F, sorry. We have the case study there. It said, explain one reason why the reduced cost of communication has helped to increase globalization. First, e-commerce. E-commerce is a platform which allows buyers and sellers to transact via the internet. So it means a cheaper internet brings about a reduced cost of communication. So when we talk about reduced cost of communication, it means one of its sources, which is internet, is cheap. So a cheap internet means I can transact, I can reach out to anyone irrespective of the country they have. And as a result of that, we can do transactions. And increasing transaction will bring about increasing globalization. Is it clear? We go to D now, right?
G.
G, yes, sir. Taxation. So with reference to the data above and your knowledge of economics, assess the use of taxation to protect environment in a country such as Germany. First, taxation can be imposed by the government to reduce negative externalities such as environmental damage. So a rise in taxation by 12%, but from 9%, set from 7% to 19%. So that's 12% increase. Are you there?
Yeah.
So a rise in taxation by 12% will definitely increase the price of meat. This may reduce the consumption of meat. Okay. Reduction in the consumption of meat will reduce the amount of gas emission caused by animals. Clear. A rise in taxation may increase government revenue in Germany. This might allow further spending on healthcare, educational infrastructure. Okay. However, the price elasticity of demand for meat may be inelastic, which means a rise in taxation may not effectively reduce the amount of pollution caused by animals' activity. Clear. Go to question. Are you there?
Yeah.
What is the total amount of revenue raised by indirect taxes? We're talking about indirect taxes, we're talking about taxes on consumption. And we have direct taxes, which are taxes on income, taxes on profit, taxes on inheritance. These are direct taxes. So here we have sales tax, which is value-added tax, an example of indirect tax. Income tax, an example of direct tax. Tax is an example of indirect tax. Business tax or corporate tax is an example of direct tax. So we have sales tax and tax, which is 186.3 plus 31.9, which is 218.2. So the answer is C. Is it clear?
Yes.
Move on. Question. Members of a trading bloc agree to, they always agree to trade together with low or no barriers. So they always want preferential treatment for each other.
Yeah.
That's the answer. So they have the same rate of income tax. No, this is decided by the government of each country. Only trade with members within the bloc. No, there's globalization, so you can still trade with anybody. Have common borders between members. No, they may not have common borders. Libya might be in the trade bloc of the African, the North Africans, but it might not share border with Morocco. You understand? Thank you. I think the point is clear. Yes. So go to question C. There's no one advantage of using quotas for a country such as Brazil. Quotas reduce the quantity of imported ethanol into Brazil. This means domestic producers may be able to increase their sales as a result. Clear.
Sure.
Go to D. First, later above my knowledge of funds, analyze why the Slovenian government might want to increase investment in healthcare. So investment in healthcare simply means the cost of medicine and medical care reduces as a result, it becomes affordable for the Slovenian population. You get that point? You get it? You got it? Did you get it? Okay, sure. Healthcare investment means everyone, irrespective of status, will have access to quality healthcare. This may increase the life expectancy of the population in Slovenia. That's an advantage there. And with accessibility to better healthcare, it will improve the health status of the Slovenian workforce, which means there will be less absenteeism, and that might bring about improved productivity.
I have a question.
Yes, sure.
If they said there was like a disadvantage in the situation, what would it be?
Disadvantage about improved healthcare. Well, one of the problems about improved healthcare is that it's about government spending here. There's opportunity cost. But most of the time, when you look at healthcare is something that is important, but there's always going to be opportunity cost. Is it clear? Shall we move on? Yes. Question E. Okay. Turkmenistan. So with the reference to the data above and your knowledge, assess the likely benefit of economic growth for a country such as Turkmenistan. What's economic growth? Economic growth implies to an increase in Turkmenistan's GDP. That's economic growth. Okay. So based on the data, the oil and gas sector, which accounts for 60% of the GDP in Turkmenistan, may witness increase in employment opportunity, which means income level in the sector may increase, bringing about improvement in the living standard. So based on the case study, there's 60% increase in the GDP through the oil and gas sector. So if this is happening, that means the oil and gas sector might be employing more workers, and that will improve the income level in the oil sector and bringing about an improved living standard. Okay. The growth rate of 6.2% in Turkmenistan may also result in reducing the poverty level in Turkmenistan, as it has the largest proportion of its labor force in agriculture, which is expected to have lower income. The lowest income is always in the primary sector of the economy, which agriculture is part of it. In the primary sector, they witness the lowest. It is expected to have a low income. The highest income comes from the tertiary sector of an economy. So for low income, if you want to witness low income, you have to be in the primary sector of the economy. So, and they said the largest proportion of the population of the workforce, that's 50% of the workforce is in the agricultural sector. That means there's poverty in Turkmenistan. So with economic growth rates now, I got the poverty level in Turkmenistan as it has the largest proportion of its labor force in agriculture, which is expected to have lower income. With higher growth rates, the government of Turkmenistan may increase the minimum wage rate to raise the income level in the agricultural sector. Okay. However, if the economy of Turkmenistan grows too fast, it may bring about inflationary pressure. This may be as a result of increasing aggregate demand, which will bring about demand through inflation, and or overusage of factors of production. That means we are using the resources that are scarce. They are economic resources and they're scarce. So when you use them more, the prices will rise, cost of production will increase, bringing about cost push inflation. Is it clear? Shall we move on to question 4? question 4. It said calculate. Question 4. Calculate how much interest in yuan Zhang will receive in 1 year. The advisory share of the principal is 8,000 yuan and the interest rate is 2.25. So to calculate the interest itself, 8,000 multiplied by 2.25 multiplied by divided by 100. It is 180 yuan.
Yeah.
Clear. This question says it's about inflation. It said, with reference to the data above and your knowledge of economics, analyze the impact of inflation on individual in a country such as China. So first, what is inflation? Inflation is a persistent rise in the price of goods and services in an economy over a given period of time. So according to the data above, there's a rise in inflation rate to 2.8%. That's a high inflation rate there. So according to the data, which means when there's an increase in inflation rate, it means the purchasing power for consumers will fall. Because it said, how does it affect individuals in China? So a high inflation rate will affect the purchasing power of individuals. Why? Because their disposable income will fall. They won't be able to buy what they used to buy. So that means consumption will fall. And especially if their wage rate cannot be adjusted with inflation, that means the real wage is not increasing. There's the nominal wage and the real wage. The real wage is that wage that has been adjusted with inflation. So if there's increase in inflation rate, if inflation is increasing in the economy, the real wage must also increase. If not, the purchasing power for consumers will fall. They won't be able to buy what they used to buy. Is it clear? An increase in inflation rates may also bring about shoe leather cost. So people would have to move around to find a bargaining price before they buy goods or services. Is it clear? So that's about inflation. Any question about inflation? Let's move on. We'll go to question C, right? He said, with reference to data above and your knowledge of economics, evaluate the effectiveness of monetary policy in controlling inflation in a country such as China. So when we're talking about monetary policy, we're talking about the use of money supply or interest rates by the government to stabilize price, because it's about inflation. So you have to use price stability there. I think monetary policy is there. The use of government money supply or interest rate by the government to stabilize price. That's monetary policy. So for inflation, which is a percent rise in the price of goods, government can use contractionary monetary policy, which is high interest rates, to correct inflation. How does it work? With high interest rates, savers would have the incentive to save more. People would want to save more because the interest rate is increasing. So everyone would want to benefit from that high interest rate. As a result, savings will increase more than spending. So spending would fall. And if savings increase more than spending, it will bring about a fall in demand within the economy. So if aggregate demand falls within the economy, it will bring about a fall in the demand pool inflation. So government will use high interest rates to reduce demand pool inflation. Is it clear? That's the first point. Then the second point is about appreciation of the country's currency. A high interest rate means the country's currency, the demand for the country's currency would increase. And when we talk about exchange rate itself, an exchange rate is the price of a country's currency in relation to other countries' currency, right? So if there's a high interest rate here in China, in Libya, the demand for the Libyan dinars will decrease. And if the demand for Libyan dinars increases, the dinars will appreciate against the dollars or other currency. So this means our export value would rise and import value would reduce. So that means we can do more of imports than exports. So doing more of imports than exports now goes back to inflation. Firms that rely on importation of components or raw materials to produce their goods in Libya would witness a fall in cost of production because importation becomes cheaper as a result of countries' acquisition of currency. Do you get it now? So with the acquisition of the country's currency, the price of importation reduces. And if the price of importation reduces, the cost of producing production through imported raw materials will reduce, bringing about a fall in cost push inflation. So government will use high interest rates to correct demand pull inflation and cost push inflation. Do you get the point there? However, increasing the interest rate may reduce investment spending by firms because if interest rate increases, firms that rely on investment through borrowing would not be able to do that. So that means output within the economy would also fall. And if output, that means firms will not be able to invest. And if firms are unable to invest, that means output will reduce in the economy. So that means China might be witnessing a fall in its GDP. That's the first point. And aside that, a high interest rate may bring about increase in unemployment rates. Because if firms are unable, one, savings has fallen. If savings has fallen, or savings has reduced, demand has fallen. So firms will be witnessing a low revenue, which means they won't be able to employ more or increase or expand their operation. So if they can't expand their operation, they won't need to employ more workers. So unemployment rate might also increase. So government trying to solve one economic problem might result into another problem, which we call government failure. Is it clear? So that ends paper 2 of which year is this? June 2021, right? Thank you.